8 AM, hot already. Last night we had some wet stuff fall out of the sky for about 5 minutes. So you wouldn't know now, but a welcome drop no less. At least it's damped down the dust for a few hours this morning. So the goats are out. They had a huge feast yesterday. They're all fat as pigs. I thought I'd get them out nice and early this morning and get them topped up. Mainly it's an excuse so I can come and have a look at the dig. Going great guns now. Starting to look like a real lake or a real island. And yep, counting our blessings yet again. I'm convinced it's going to look stunning, guys. I really am. So it looks like it's got about another hour in this corner. And then it's along the front straight. A bit bahoo-bahee round the corner. Might get him to round off the corners a bit. So another place to set your rods up. Down to the far end, look at my new stick, and take the road out. We won't get it all done today, but I don't know, probably 2 days. And then a day with a tractor, eh? I'm gonna miss him. He's like the brother I never had. Right, let's get the goats moving. You guys recently asked on on our previous videos if we're concerned about erosion at all to the sides of the lake. Absolutely not, and just to show you a reason why, I'll spin the camera around. So on the outer side of the lake, this has been dug for almost 2 years I think now, and you can see it's got zero erosion. Now we might get a bit in the future, but for 2 years it's nice and smooth, and this was dug exactly the same style and angle as what we're having done now, but you can see it's quite granular. It basically just breaks down over time, and then although you can still see the teeth marks from the bucket scraping up the side, it just all beds down nicely. You might get the odd crab burrowing in a hole and that sort of thing, but apart from that, the way the lake is situated, we can't get any sort of like storm water or flooding water, like a raging torrent coming in here to wash anything away, so we're all right. Previously though, until we'd had it all sloped here, it was pretty vertical, a little bit more like this, and as the water drops, where it's been soft, where it's been wet rather, that does drop in. So he's giving it a bit of a shave here, and that should be alright, but from here on down, that's rock anyway. Well, not rock, I can't remember the name of it. A couple of guys do, a couple of guys have told me the name, but my memory. So yeah, erosion, not something that we are concerned about. The birds have been having a field day, getting the shrimp and small fry in here. The bigger stuff's been hiding well though. Still no footprints down along the lake, so it doesn't look like anyone's been silly enough to go in there electric shocking the fish. Our 2 secret glory holes have all filled up with water now. Only I know where they are. So when you visit, be nice to me, and I'll put you on the fish. Look at that, PJ checking out her island already. Now this is where you do get erosion, when they don't scrape the sides back. So this is all the original earth that was moved from the outside of the lake. Excavation, and so it would have been soft, and it's not compacted or anything like that. It's not scraped back, it's just been thrown over, and then just the natural fall of it like that. So yeah, that does get washed down a little bit It is accentuated, of course, by these herberts, but that's not going to be quite so bad in the future. Another thing is, as all this stuff grows, it ties it all together. But down here, I'll just show you something else that's growing. This stuff is so thick, and they never eat all of it, like that. So it's gradually making its way round the lake. Again, that ties everything in, but at least when they walk on it, it's not at least all the soil's not falling in. But it's the ledge is so wide anyway, it's never going to go all the way in there, so it's not something that we're concerned about. Over this side, it's even more rough as bollocks. It's just been thrown over here. At the end of the day, we had to draw the line somewhere where we thought, well, enough's enough. We can still grow stuff in here, and that's going to be fodder for the goats. So it's going to be things like guttin in there, but it's going to be a little bit of everything. Sometimes we'll let the goats in here. Sometimes we'll be cutting stuff and taking it to the house. It's where we planted quite a lot of bamboos all the way around. We're not really going to know for sure how many survived this drought until the rains come. I think we've lost quite a few, because true to form, we planted them right at the end of the rainy season. But hey ho, they didn't cost us anything. It was hard work, but where they haven't survived the drought, we'll pop a few more in there. Really looking forward to putting the big stuff in here, and it won't be too long when after they've been stocked, the old Mekongs will be going round. It's like a pod of dolphins, and you'll see their fins and their tails arching out of the water. It's a sight to behold when you get these beautiful fish shoaling up near the surface. I think my only real concern is people, what we call long lining. What I mean by that, you get some people trying to poach big fish, and they'll have one long line with a big weight on the end, and they'll launch that out, and it's got several baited hooks. I normally use snails or worms on it, and then go and hide somewhere for an hour or two, and then pull it in. If you've got a really weedy expanse of water, they get a load of Pepsi bottles or something like that, soda bottles, plastic ones, and tie sort of like 1 metre or 2 metres of like a braid, a big hook on there, and again bait, and they just throw it out into the water. Of course, it doesn't matter how big your fish is. A soda bottle filled with air, and the lid screwed on tight. A fish can't keep that underwater for an indefinite length of time, and then they just go around with a long stick with sort of like a hook on the end and yank it in. So we've seen both over the years before we came and lived here, where we've got those 2 trees there, lines of eucalyptus. There's the big old secret pond in there. We found long lines in there, and then when we finally came back to live here, the fenced pond which had the geese in there, we found the old bottles with the hooks tied on those, because we'd filled that up with water hyacinth, so it wasn't easy for people to put lines in. It just shows you it's not just all electric shocking and throwing nets. They also do seine netting out here, whereas basically you'd get a guy that side and a guy that side, and net across, and they'd walk it up to a corner. So yeah, you get some very, very big fish quite quickly that way. If you're not vigilant and you don't live right next to your fish, honestly guys, they will be gone. I know some of you live in some brilliant places, but it's only a matter of time until someone sees it and sees it as an opportunity. But it is, trust me, it is only a matter of time until a herbert finally sees it as an easy opportunity, and they will be in there. You'll lose almost your whole stock if you're not on your land. It's horrible to think that way of people, and it's not everyone, of course. It tends to be that they're the stories that people tell, and yeah, we've got a few stories of unsavoury people doing that to us, but now we're on the land. You got your dogs, you don't think about fencing everywhere. You just throw money down the drain, unless you've got a smaller property, because people can climb fences and people can break fences. It's all happened to us, so best of luck if you want to do that. If you've got the money to throw at it and wall yourselves in, you go for it. But my advice would be just get your ass out of bed the odd night and walk around your property, and or if you're minted, pay someone to do it at different times. Make sure you get someone that you trust 100%, because it could be them netting your fish behind your back. And if they're going to be big fish like we're going to stock, yeah, I know we got ours cheap, but that was many years ago. And you're looking at, depending on what fish they are, but you're looking at 50 baht per kg. Some will be a lot more if you want something non-native, like an arapaima or something like that. So my advice would be, if you're thinking about doing a fishing lake or something like that, dig a small growing pond to start with. Buy your fish small, and it's a lot easier to look after a small pond near your house than a big expanse of water like this. We're generally okay, touch wood, because most people are shit scared of tune. Another thing, don't get overly paranoid. I know sometimes I paint a bad picture, maybe, with giving you the accounts of some of the things that have happened to us, but when you're doing a project something like this, no one's ever seen anything like this in this area. So, you know, when you're pumping water out and you've got the macro digging and the trucks in and out, you will get an audience sitting up there, and they will see your fish rising and splashing. They're not casing you out necessarily. Don't think that. You'll worry yourself to bloody death. Most people around here are brilliant people. Hey up, Macro Man's coming out here. I don't know whether he's going to start at the road end here, or I'm sure he won't take the road out yet, because he wants to keep the water down while he's digging that bit. So wait and see where he's going, what he's doing. I think it's to do with the position of the sun this morning. So when he was over there, he got the sun's coming straight into his cab, and unbelievably there's no aircon in his cab. When we had the outside of the lake done, that was by another company, and they had quite a new machine. But any time the aircon stopped working, so did the digger driver, and the phone call went in, and he just put his feet up, waiting there for them to come and fix his aircon, and then he would start again. Of course, we weren't paying every time the digger stopped, but yeah, there's no such thing as aircon in Macro Man's cab. And he was Betty Swallocks yesterday, so yeah, I think he's got the sun on the back of him. I might be talking bollocks though. Hey, Mrs. Crabtree, she's up and about inspecting the work. I'll drive the herd over to her and see if she approves of what Macro Man's been creating for us. Come on, you lot, let's go. Come on, Slim. Oh, it's silly bollocks time, is it? Yep.